The beginning of this interview was sadly cut off. I apologize. Also, there's extreme feedback in this episode, and I apologize for that as well. The radio station was having a lot of issues. But other than that, please enjoy.
Music industry with an emphasis in music technology or something like that.
I see.
But yeah, so I play saxophone. I try to record a lot of jazz fusion. It's definitely one of my favorite genres. I play a lot of classical. I'm in a saxophone quartet here. I'm in band here. Try to do as much as I can while I'm here.
Yeah, perfect. How long have you been playing saxophone for?
Oh, man. I've been playing saxophone since I was 10, so I guess that is 13 years now?
Wow.
13?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite saxophone? Like bari, alto?
Bari.
Bari? Yeah.
I love alto as well. My alto is one of my babies, but bari has a very special place in my heart.
Yeah.
I actually started playing bari in 7th grade.
I see.
Played bari for, I think, 2 or 3 years. No, I think it was 3. And then I switched to alto for a few years in high school, and then I actually got put back on bari by Mr. Lefevre.
Oh, okay.
In symphonic band, and at first I was not happy. I was like, man, I really wanted to play alto.
Yeah.
I wanted to keep getting better. But I think that time away from bari made me love it even more.
I see.
So I've definitely transitioned into more of a bari player, but most of my jazz stuff that I play is on alto.
Oh, I see, yeah. Why did you start playing jazz, or when did you start playing jazz?
My first jazz experience was I went to SFA band camp in, I don't remember the year, but I think I was going into my freshman year of high school. And they're like, we need a piano player. Does anybody play piano? And I barely played piano. It was, I was not very good, but I tried my best and I loved it. It was a lot of fun. I could really only play the bass line. Not all those voicings just get so complicated sometimes. But so I played piano there, and then I didn't really do jazz band again until I got to WT. My freshman year, which was fall 2020, and that was like when we were kind of coming out of COVID. So we didn't really need a lot. The only thing we met for the first semester was jazz band. We didn't have symphonic band or anything like that just yet. We were doing sectionals over Zoom.
Interesting.
That was rough.
Yeah.
Because one person would play and everybody would follow along, but everybody else would be muted. So it was just kind of like a solo that you would just have to play in front of everybody. And being a freshman in that situation was so scary. Because I was like, all these people are judging me, but they weren't. They weren't at all. So,
what made you so attracted to the genre of jazz?
Really, what got me into it was a lot of Japanese fusion bands. I'm gonna recommend a song by a Japanese fusion band. Japanese fusion. A lot of people are like, oh, it's just Mario Kart music, which they're kind of right, but it's so fun. It's so fun to listen to. I mean, who doesn't like Mario Kart music?
Yeah.
And a lot of the music just makes you really happy. And we need happiness in these times.
Yeah. How different was playing jazz compared to playing in band?
Super. I actually, my main bari setup, I play on a plastic mouthpiece, actually. Well, I don't think it's technically plastic. It's some resin or something. I don't know. But I actually play on the same reeds. But the style is so different. But the style being so different broadened my horizons in band as well.
I see. Okay.
Because there's, especially when we play string transcriptions and stuff. You have to have the pizzicato stuff, and a lot of that you can kind of find that articulation in jazz band too, because you need very short and pecky articulation at times. But also accents. I got so good at accents because of jazz. Accents are hard. It's you can't really hit the front of the note with your tongue. It has to all be air. So that was a huge learning curve for me throughout jazz band.
I see, yeah. Does the way you think change when you play jazz, getting into a different mindset?
In a way. I like to think more. I mean, I'm always thinking about direction when I'm playing music.
Yeah.
Where does the line go? But more importantly, where does this line fit in jazz is kind of where my mind sets.
I see. Okay, yeah. What are some role models you have in the world of jazz?
In the world of jazz? Well, I'm going to name some bands because I don't really listen to... Actually, hold on. I lied to you. Just give me 1 second. My professor, Dr. Barger, he was on the show a few weeks ago. Or was it 2 weeks ago?
Oh, no. It was a while ago.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I think the 2 is right. I think he was the second week.
Okay.
Yes.
Kenny Garrett, Sing a Song of Song. And I just discovered this recently, but the way that he uses his scales and his knowledge of scales, he's playing notes that shouldn't technically work or function.
I see, yeah.
But because of the certain arpeggio that he's playing, it functions. So, and he's finding the chord tones and with using neighbor tones.
I see.
So,
okay. What are some of your favorite jazz artists, and why are they your favorite?
I love T Square.
Yeah.
T Square is amazing. I recently discovered Dimension. Let me see. I have a few others on here. It's going to be too much to find them. Sorry. Oh,
okay.
Nowhere. Have you heard of Nowhere?
I have not.
Okay. If you ever have Dr. Bomi on this podcast, he will talk about Nowhere.
That's a hope we have to get Dr. Bomi on here.
You should really try. He's such a fantastic jazz musician and studio musician. He's just a great player in general.
Yeah.
But I got to listen to some of his unreleased stuff over at the Audio Refinery in Amarillo that's ran by Carlos Caso, and there were some big names playing on it, and he just fit in like a glove. It was great.
It's awesome.
It was super cool.
Yeah. Why were they your favorites? Other the artists you named?
Nowhere uses a lot of rhythmic components, and they have a lot of like random like hit sections.
Yeah.
Where it's like, how are you even counting that? I mean, they're probably like cueing each other and all that in the studio, but so they're really rhythmically complex, and T Square just always has amazing melodies.
I see. Perfect. What's some of your favorite subgenres of jazz?
Well, I definitely like a lot of bebop. Let me some bebop. I'm terrible at bebop articulation, but I still love it.
Yeah.
Something I'm working on. I like me a good ballad, of course.
Yeah. What's one of your favorite ballads?
I don't know if you'd consider this a ballad, but we played an arrangement of Send in the Clowns last year, and it was so fun. Fun. I actually, funny story, I forgot my part for that for that piece on the concert. It was backstage, and we get to I was sitting next to Joseph Fondren.
Yeah.
And I looked over at him. I said, I don't have my part. He goes, what do you mean? I was like, I don't know where it is. And so I played that by memory. It went pretty well for the most part. When I didn't know what notes to play, I looked over at Joe's part and kind of copied his a little bit.
So it worked out a little bit.
Yeah. We made it work.
When you are improvising, what is going through your mind?
Oh, man. I'd like to say that I try to think more analytical. Like, oh my gosh, I need to play this chord tone here and this chord tone there. But I really just kind of try to follow a shape that I have in my head. And more so trying to react to what's around me. I think that's a huge part of jazz, just reacting to what you're hearing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you don't have your ears on, you're just going to sound like you're playing nonsense, which is how you learn.
Yeah.
You've got to play nonsense to make a beautiful solo happen.
Yeah,
so
there you go. Why do you think jazz and people's emotions have such a close connection?
It's soul music. It is. I mean, it's American. I mean, it's traditionally American music, and I think here especially, the Panhandle has a really great jazz program considering where we're located, you know? And we can talk about the history of like the jazz clubs and stuff in Amarillo, but that's kind of not what you're asking. So would you repeat your question for me one more time? I kind of got off on a tangent.
Why do you think jazz and people's emotions have such a close connection?
Yes. Okay. So when I play jazz, I'm trying to speak more from a personal standpoint, kind of what it means to me. When I play jazz, I like to think about what the composer was going through, because some compositions are definitely like a product of what that person was going through while they were writing it. But also then you have like absolute heaters that just are fast and nonstop, and then you really think, what are they going through? What are they going through? So that's kind of how I think about it, if that answers your question.
I see, This next segment is basically called Jazz or Not, where I ask you certain things and you tell me if you would consider them jazz or not.
Okay.
First up, we have Frank Sinatra, jazz or not?
I'd say jazz.
Yeah. Why?
I'd say jazz.
What do you think?
Just a lot of his vocal inflection, a lot of his instrumentation too. This is tough. But I think that's what I'm going to stick with. I think it's jazz.
Next up, Leve, jazz or not?
Who?
Leve?
Leve? I don't know if I know Leve.
So I think someone else didn't know who this was, but she's a more recent artist, and she's gotten popular because she used a lot of jazz elements in her music. So she's made covers of Misty and Summertime. So she has a lot of jazz elements into her music. And she's one of the main... She's actually the inspiration for the segment.
Oh,
because
cool.
people don't know if you would consider her a jazz artist or not.
I think, given those parameters, I think that where her interests are, like, I think you could call it jazz, 100%. Because if the intent is there and the execution is, I think you call it jazz.
I see.
In my opinion.
I see. Next, Billy Joel.
Billy Joel.
Jazz or
not? I want to say no on this one, and I'll probably hurt some people's feelings. But when I think of Billy Joel, I think of like white ladies. You know. I mean, not that like white ladies cannot like jazz. That is not what I'm saying in the slightest. but like he's almost more of like a pop culture figure in a way. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like more popular music.
Yeah.
Not that jazz music isn't popular music, but considering now it's...
I get you, yeah. Okay, next up, when you play a jazz sounding orchestra / band piece, is that jazz or not?
Depends on how it's written.
I see.
Because if the composer writes rhythms that are supposed to sound like swing, I don't consider that jazz. They can have a lot of jazz elements, but when it comes to like how I see it on the paper, if they want me to swing with a dotted 8th 16th, I'm gonna swing it more than that. So, and that's probably not great, but yeah.
Like an example I use all the time is I always bring up the Kevin Day Concerto from last year.
Yeah.
So like, would you consider that piece jazz?
I don't think I would. Simply because the just how formally it's written and formatted.
Okay.
It's a very well thought out idea throughout the entire piece, and every movement brings its own pizzazz. I see, of course. I think certain movements are more jazz oriented, especially in the solos. The solos especially are what make it sound jazzier.
I mean, most of the, like, if you, for example, you had a Killer Berry solo.
Thank you.
And most of the people that had solos were jazz players.
Yeah.
So Dylan had a solo, correct?
No. Joseph had a solo.
Oh yeah. It was yes. That was the year Dylan wasn't in.
Yes.
Like Max had a very.
Yes, Max. Yeah. His solo was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And then the drum solo at the end was very also jazz feel.
That's T-Mal for you though.
Yeah. Anyways, next up is You did get into this a little bit, video game jazz.
Yeah,
Jazz
yeah.
Yeah, you like Mario Kart and stuff like
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, I love that stuff.
Okay, next, overproduced recordings. Would you consider that jazz or not?
What do you mean by that?
So like sometimes, when they're making a soundtrack for a movie that has jazz sounding elements, sometimes they have artists like not in the same room together, like separate tracks all at separate times, like not having a drummer in their ear but like a metronome.
Yeah.
So, and then someone going in and editing all the layers and adding them together instead of all the musicians being in the same room.
That's interesting. I actually kind of haven't thought about that. One of my favorite movie soundtracks that has a ton of jazz inflection is Babylon, and that was made in 2022. Have you seen that one?
Yes.
Justin Hurwitz, I believe, wrote that soundtrack. And I think Leo P played bari and tenor on that one.
I see. Okay.
I could be very wrong, though. I know he for sure played bari. But if he played two of the saxes, then that means that they probably recorded everything separately. And I love it. So I'd call it jazz.
Yeah. A reason I asked that is because a lot of people find jazz to be this connection with other humans of like making music together. So that's the main premise of why I ask, because it's usually not people together. And then the last one is modern songs with jazz sections. For example, I always talk about certain Kendrick Lamar songs where they have a whole saxophone solely in the middle of it. But would you consider that whole song to be jazz, or just have jazz-inspired elements?
I would say jazz-inspired elements because he writes into a completely different genre. Love Kendrick, though.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Okay, next question I have for you is, if you could take the writing ability or the playing ability of any artist, why would you pick them? Or who and why would you pick?
Okay. I need to look up his name. I know his first name is Tanaka. Or maybe that's his last name. He is a insane... Masayoshi Takanaka. He is one of the most insane guitar players I've ever heard.
I think I've heard of his name, yeah.
But I would actually take his writing over his playing ability. I mean, he's obviously a killer player, but he writes bangers left and right. He wrote an album called Rainbow Goblins, I think. No, The Moon Rose. Oh no, that's the name of the song. Sorry, I'm getting you. Oh, it is the Rainbow Goblins. There's not a miss on that. You can actually watch that entire concert on YouTube too.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's awesome. How do you feel about jazz influence in modern music?
Like, do you mean? How do you mean that?
So like I talked about Leve, the artist earlier. Yeah. She's a very new artist, adding jazz elements. Of course, Kendrick Lamar, we talked about, adding a lot of elements like that. So a lot of artists are just adding more and more jazz elements like swing or just big bands into their music. I
think it's great. I mean, bring it back. Bring back the jazz clubs. Maybe not all the jazz clubs, but they're. I think it's good because it exposes a lot of the younger listeners to that type of music, and I think it can inspire a lot of people, because if the people that they really like are doing it, they're like, maybe I should.
Yeah. What is one of your favorite jazz albums and why?
Jazz albums.
I know you talked about a few.
Yes, I have. I've definitely got some more. Yeah. Let me look at some T-Square stuff. Oh, I know. I think it's called "Welcome to the Rose Garden" by T-Square. I think. Let's see. Yep, "Welcome to the Rose Garden" by T-Square.
Why is it your favorite, or one of your favorites?
Each song has its own. Actually, let me rewind a little bit. T-Square is the reason why I like T-Square is because they re-record a lot of their songs, but each album has, for the most part, has a different saxophonist, like a different guest artist. So, like some of the songs on here, I know for sure "Prime Time" is one that they've re-recorded multiple times. Oh wait, can I take back my album?
Yes,
I'm
you can
sorry.
take back your album.
I don't know how I forgot about this. Flying Beagle by Himiko Kikuchi. Oh my gosh. I love this album. So it's a beagle.
I see, yeah.
And they use like actual dog noises throughout the entire album. And I think it is Baby Talk. It's got a crazy like bass opening, but it like the way that it's written, it sounds like you would like baby talk to a dog.
Interesting.
It's super cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
And like they even put dog barks in that one on some of the upbeats. It's cool.
Well, that gets to my next question. Why do you think people have so much creativity when it comes to jazz music?
There's no limit. I think that really it's what the heart desires that comes out in jazz. It's certainly produced all of the genres that have came after it. You know, I mean, we had jazz started really picked up in like what 30s, 40s.
Yeah.
And from there we got we take a lot of the jazz elements and put them into popular music like we've been talking about. And then then we get like boy bands and stuff later on and all that. But I think there's just really not a limit with the creativity, because who's there to tell you that that's too out there? No one's gonna tell you that for jazz. I mean, we listened to the First Circle a few weeks ago at the jazz band concert, and that's probably one of the more out there pieces that I've played personally. It's such a fun chart. Have you gotten to play it?
I have not gotten to play it, no.
I hope you do.
Hopefully.
It is so fun.
Yeah. My next question is, what is one of your favorite memories relating to jazz?
The concert I think that I played First Circle on.
I see.
Either that one or my last jazz band concert that I did just about a year ago.
I see.
So the First Circle was a really nice memory because I think that was one of the first concerts that I had in over a year or so because of COVID.
I see.
So it was just nice to get back on the stage and play my heart out. But then my last jazz band concert, I was just around a lot of people that I loved, and it was a really good time.
I see. Perfect. How do you feel about the direction that jazz is currently going in?
Sorry.
You're good.
I think it's great. I always love progress with music. If it's not changing, it's going to get boring, and then no one's going to like it ever again. So I think there always needs to be change when it comes to jazz.
I see, yeah.
Fresh ideas, new faces, all of it.
What do you hope for the future of jazz?
I hope that more people get involved with it.
Yeah.
Personally, my high school didn't have a jazz program, so I really didn't know what I was missing. But I hope more people get involved with it. I think jazz education needs to be expanded on a lot. Music education up here is amazing, and jazz education up here is pretty good too.
Yes.
Dr. Barger works his tail off to do as much as he can. I mean, he does clinicians every year, and he works region stuff and all that. But there also just needs to be more people doing it to where we can expand on it more and really teach it to the highest capacity. So
the next question I had for you is, obviously you talked a little bit about how you're getting into recording, or you've gotten into recording multiple ensembles, and I know during the jazz concerts you're recording the concerts. How does your knowledge of jazz band help you with this future career path you're trying to pursue?
Jazz band is, well, especially in Northern, we don't really need a sound system in Northern, but we like it.
Yeah.
So jazz band's kind of difficult to mix sometimes, especially when you throw monitors into the mix, because monitors are so annoying to deal with, because if you push one just slightly too far, instant feedback. So I think I do a lot of live sound now. I think I'm definitely going to transfer like completely into live sound, which is good that I was doing the jazz band concerts because that gave me a great experience.
Yeah.
But we used a lot of the jazz band mics, and they're great. I don't know what other mics I would have used in a live setting, but I had ideas. So maybe some of the miking I would have considered differently. I'm not trying to criticize them, of course.
Yeah.
It was a great concert, and everything was amazing. Where am I going with this? So you asked, how's it going to help me?
Yeah.
I think mixing in Northern Hall is definitely a challenge. You have to sound the room out.
I see, yeah.
Meaning boosting like certain frequencies on your EQ. Whenever you find them that are like really nasty, you just cut them out. So I think EQing in there has definitely helped me a lot. Just finding an ideal sound and balance. That's super important for the mixing phase because I mean, have you talked much or have you heard much about like mixing in headphones versus monitors like these?
Yeah.
It's a completely different world because the air around you reacts differently than just right on your ears. So being able to hear them acoustically is definitely going to help me balance in the mastering phase.
I see. Okay, yeah.
So
makes sense. So would you consider mixing a jazz band easier or harder than mixing like any other thing you're recording?
That's kind of a tough question because then you get into the like the specifics of ensemble size.
Yeah.
If we're talking about like about the same size of ensemble, jazz band's pretty tough. As opposed to like saxophone, saxophone ensemble or horn choir or trombone choir, because with saxophone ensemble. Well, I'm going to talk about the octet. It's a little bit smaller than jazz band, but not by much. We just had 4 mics set up, 2 Sennheisers on our baries and tenors, and then I don't remember what they used for altos. I'm blanking on that, but altos and sopranos, but. There, it's more of a controlled environment because, I can't really compare the two because it's like classical compared to jazz.
Yeah.
Classical, I have a lot more experience with. I recorded, Reverie Saxophone Quartet recorded for probably about 15 to 20 hours total, leading up to a competition deadline, and the setup I had was a SM88 Plus, which is actually a phone mount that you plug the mic into your iPhone. It's a oh my lord, it's an XY pair basically. Dynamic microphone, so it'll be a little more crispy and get a little bit more of the definition. I use that as my close mic.
I see.
And then for the hall mics, I just use the FAC mics. Mixing that is a lot easier because you just find a balance between the 2 mics, and you're like, okay, I'm happy with that. Like the 2 sets of mics, because you want all of the definition, but you don't want it to be so much definition that it sounds like you're not really playing to the space. You know that? You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I get you.
With jazz band, there's so many mics involved. We don't mic everything at WT, but we mic all of our saxes. We have a solo trombone, solo trumpet. We do not mic drum kit in Northern. That would be diabolical. Yeah. We DI the bass into the D snake, and then we have a pair of shotgun mics on the piano, the Rode shotgun mics, and then guitar. I think this year we just amped. We just used the amp, but when we do mic, I think we use the Sennheiser E609.
I see. Okay.
But it's just a lot more mics involved, and whenever you mic a kit, you have to have kick mic, snare mic, don't really need a hi-hat. Or I guess you really don't need a snare mic most of the time either. But if you're recording for like your sake, it's good to have a snare mic, and your snare mic will also pick up your hi-hat. And then you tom 1, tom 2, or however many toms they have. And then in a more controlled setting, I would do overheads. But if it's in like a pretty decent hall, you don't really need overheads, because then that just kind of ruins your entire mix, because you're getting just all of the cymbal wash.
Yeah, I get you.
So, but like if you're playing in a huge venue and you have your drummer boxed off, definitely overheads.
I see.
But yeah, it's I think editing and recording for jazz is a lot more difficult just because there's so much more setup.
I see. Well, the last question I have for you is, what advice do you have for upcoming jazz musicians?
Don't be scared. I was terrified when I started jazz. And I was like, oh my gosh, all these people are so much better than me. But you got to be bad at something to be good at something. And you got to be willing to be bad at something to be good at something. That's the hard part. Is because you can be bad at something and just be like, okay, I give up. But if you're willing to be bad at it for a while and put in your 10,000 hours, it'll be well worth it. I mean, 10,000 hours to be a professional at it. Yeah. Not 10,000 hours to be okay at it. You know, I mean, that could be the case if you have unproductive practice. But I think that's what I would say. It's just, and also just don't give up, because the second you put the horn down, you never know when you're going to pick it back up again.
Yeah, perfect. Well, this little segment I give all my guests is just to promote anything, shout out any musicians you want to give a quick shout out to. It's just, the moment is yours.
Oh, shout out to all my WT Saxos. Shout out to Dr. Barger. I love y'all. I love my mom too.
There we go, perfect. And then the last thing is, I always ask my guests to recommend one song to be added on the playlist forever. What song would you like to recommend today?
I would like to recommend Beatniks by Dimension.
There we go, perfect. Well, that wraps up our interview for today. Thank you, Carter, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Very good guest, very great interview. Of course, tune into the Instagram. We'll be taking our Polaroid picture, and that post will get posted in a couple hours, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for the rest of Jazzy Fridays. Oh gosh, I forgot the thing. Jazzy Fridays. We have, of course, Elliot Side reads right after this, so make sure to stay tuned. This is Jazzy Fridays, only on KWTS 91.1 FM. Make sure to stay tuned.